Hey everyone, welcome back to our English podcast, episode 3 already. I'm really happy you're here with us again.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is all about helping you improve your English through real, natural conversations.
Exactly. And today we've got 2 topics that almost every English learner struggles with. First, how to sound natural when you speak. And second, that frustrating situation when you understand English perfectly, but you just can't speak it.
Oh, yes, that one hurts. I remember when I was learning Spanish, I could understand everything in movies, but when I tried to speak, my brain just froze.
That's such a common problem. And the funny thing is, both of these issues are connected. You can't sound natural until you actually speak more. And you can't speak more until you stop overthinking.
That's so true. Let's start with the first one, how to sound natural in English. So sounding natural doesn't mean having a perfect accent or sounding like a native speaker. It's more about rhythm, flow, and the expressions you use.
Right. When people say someone sounds natural, it usually means they don't sound like they're translating in their head. Their speech flows smoothly, like they're just talking, not performing.
Exactly. One of the biggest mistakes learners make is trying to speak too correctly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, people focus too much on grammar. For example, they'll pause and think, wait, should it be has gone or went?
Yeah, and by the time they figure it out, the conversation has already moved on. So one of the best things you can do to sound natural is to use chunks, small groups of words that go together naturally. For example, instead of saying, it is very difficult to make a decision, you can say, it's hard to decide.
Exactly. Or instead of, I do not have any idea, say, I have no idea. That's what native speakers actually say.
Another example, instead of I will call you later, people just say, I'll call you later. That contraction makes it sound much smoother.
Speaking of contractions, they're super important for sounding natural. If you always say I am instead of I'm or you are instead of you're, it sounds kind of robotic.
Yeah, like a textbook. And native speakers use contractions all the time. There's also something about intonation, the rise and fall in your voice. If you speak in a flat tone, it sounds unnatural, even if your grammar is perfect.
True. For example, listen to this. Really? That's interesting. Versus, really? That's interesting. The words are the same, but the second one sounds alive, emotional.
Exactly. You need that melody in your voice. That's what makes your English sound natural and confident.
Here's a quick tip for listeners. Try to shadow native speakers.
Shadowing is when you listen to a short clip and repeat what they say, trying to match their rhythm and tone.
Yeah, it's like karaoke, but for English.
That's a great way to describe it. You don't have to understand every word. The goal is to copy the sound and flow.
And don't worry about sounding fake. You're training your mouth and brain to move like a native speaker. I think another thing that helps is learning fillers, like, kind of, I mean, like, and actually.
Right. They make your speech sound more natural. Not like you're reading from a script, but you should use them moderately.
Exactly. Don't say like in every sentence.
Yeah, that's the other extreme.
So, to sum up this first part, if you want to sound natural, use chunks, contractions, and fillers. Work on your intonation and practice shadowing.
Perfect summary. And now let's move to the second part. I understand English, but I can't speak.
This one is huge. So many people tell me I can understand movies, podcasts, even your voice. But when I try to speak, nothing comes out.
Yeah, it's like your brain knows the words, but your mouth refuses to cooperate.
Exactly. The reason is simple. Understanding and speaking are two different skills.
Listening is a passive skill. You recognize and understand words. Speaking is active. You need to produce them.
And you can't expect to speak fluently if you only consume English. You also have to use it.
That's like reading about swimming, but never getting in the water.
Perfect analogy.
So, how do we fix that?
The key is to create output moments. That means finding small ways to speak English every day, even if you don't have a partner.
For example, talk to yourself. Describe what you're doing, like, I'm making coffee right now, or I'm going to check my email.
Yes, it sounds silly, but it works. It trains your brain to think in English.
You can also record yourself talking about your day, then listen and notice your pronunciation or mistakes.
That's such a powerful tool. It's like having your own personal English coach.
And the best part, you don't need anyone else to do it.
Another reason people can't speak is fear. They're afraid of making mistakes.
Totally, but making mistakes is part of learning. Even native speakers make them all the time.
Yeah, when I learned French, I once said je suis chaud, which means I'm hot, but apparently it sounds very inappropriate.
See, we all mess up sometimes.
So don't wait until your English is perfect. It never will be. Start now, make mistakes, and learn as you go.
Also, don't underestimate the power of listening actively. When you listen, try to repeat or predict what comes next. That helps your brain connect listening with speaking.
Oh, and practice with real life materials, podcasts, YouTube videos, shows, not just textbooks.
Because textbooks are too clean. Real English is messy, emotional, full of expressions you won't find in grammar books.
That's what we try to do here, give you real, natural English that feels like a conversation with friends.
Yeah, and I think that's what helps people build confidence.
Exactly. Once you stop treating English like a school subject and start treating it like a tool for connection, it becomes easier to speak.
Beautifully said.
Let's share some practical tips our listeners can start using today.
Good idea. My first one, listen more than you read. When you listen, you learn how English sounds, not just what it means.
Mine would be stop translating in your head.
Yeah, that's a big one. But how do you do that?
You train your brain with short English-only moments. For example, spend 5 minutes describing your surroundings only in English.
That's a great mini exercise. Here's another. Repeat short dialogues from movies. That way you get the rhythm of real English conversations.
Yes, and even small habits help, like changing your phone language to English.
Totally, it keeps your brain in English mode.
Another important thing is don't rush. It's okay to pause and think. Fluency is not about speaking fast, it's about speaking naturally.
That's true. Even native speakers pause all the time.
So, next time you feel stuck, don't panic. Just breathe, smile, and say something simple like, let me think for a second.
That's such a good phrase. I use it all the time.
It buys you time and it sounds natural. You know, Tom, sometimes I think the biggest problem isn't grammar or vocabulary. It's that we overthink every single word.
Oh, totally. You start a sentence like, today I, and then your brain goes, wait, is it past simple or present perfect? What's the correct form? And boom, the moment's gone.
Exactly. You end up saying nothing because you're too busy thinking.
Yeah, it's like trying to dance while reading a manual. You can't enjoy the rhythm if you're constantly checking the rules.
That's a good one. I used to do that all the time, especially when I studied in college. I always tried to sound perfect. But when I met native speakers, I realized they don't care that much.
True, native speakers make mistakes too. They forget words, they change sentences halfway through, they say and 100 times.
And yet, we think we must speak like a grammar book.
Yeah, and that's what kills fluency. I always tell my students, fluency is not perfection, it's flow.
Ooh, I like that. Fluency is flow. That's a great quote.
Thanks. And you know what helps? Stop translating in your head.
Oh, yes, that's huge. When you think in your native language and translate, it's like trying to run with heavy shoes.
I love that image. You can't go far like that. So if you catch yourself translating, just pause, take a breath, and use simple English words. It's okay to be simple.
Absolutely. Native speakers also use simple words, they just connect them naturally.
So the goal isn't to sound smart. The goal is to sound comfortable.
Speaking of being comfortable, I have a funny story.
Oh, I love funny stories. Tell me.
So, when I first visited New York, I was super nervous to order coffee. I practiced my line for 10 minutes. Hi, could I please get a cappuccino with oat milk? Sounds simple, right?
Yeah, sounds perfect.
But when it was my turn, I froze. My brain went blank, and I said, Hi, can I get milk with cappuccino?
Oh, no.
The barista looked confused and said, So you want a cup of milk with cappuccino on top?
That's amazing. Did you get what you wanted at least?
Sort of. But that moment taught me something. People don't care if you make mistakes. They just want to understand you.
Exactly. I had a similar experience in Spain. I was trying to say I'm excited, but I accidentally said a word that means I'm pregnant.
No way!
Yup, the waiter looked shocked. I didn't know why until later my friend told me. We laughed about it for days.
See, mistakes make the best stories. And after that, you probably never forgot that word again.
Never. And it made me less afraid of making mistakes. I realized if you can laugh about it, it's fine.
I totally agree. That's why I love when learners talk with confidence, even if they mix things up. That's how you grow.
100%. In fact, I once had a student who couldn't speak for months. She always said, I understand, but I can't speak. But when I asked her to tell me about her favorite TV show, boom, she spoke for 10 minutes straight.
That's amazing. Sometimes all it takes is the right topic.
Exactly. When you care about what you're saying, your brain stops overthinking.
I love that. So if you're listening right now, talk about what you love. That's the secret to sounding natural.
So let's finish with something practical, an action plan.
Yes, 3 simple steps to start sounding more natural, even if you're learning alone.
Step 1, listen every day. Podcasts, YouTube videos, anything that feels real and conversational.
Totally. Don't just study English, live it. Even background listening helps your brain pick up patterns.
Step 2, shadowing. Listen to a short sentence, then repeat it out loud immediately. Copy the rhythm and intonation.
Oh, shadowing is powerful. It trains your mouth and brain to move in English.
In step 3, speak out loud to yourself. Describe your day, talk about your plans, or imagine you're explaining something to a friend.
I do that all the time. Sometimes I walk around the house talking to myself.
Haha, same here. My neighbors probably think I'm crazy.
But it works. The more you use English, the more natural it feels.
Exactly. Don't wait for perfect grammar. Just speak. Mistakes are part of the journey.
And remember, sounding natural doesn't mean sounding native. It means being you in English.
That's beautiful. Be yourself, just in another language. So let's wrap it up. Today, we talked about how to sound natural and why you might understand English but can't speak it yet.
Exactly. Remember, don't aim for perfection. Aim for connection.
Practice speaking a little every day, use natural phrases and chunks, and don't be afraid of mistakes.
And of course, keep listening to this podcast.
Yeah, we're here to help you grow your confidence and enjoy learning English.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share it with your friends, and practice speaking out loud.
You've got this. Keep going.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.